there's another situation that is forming in North Carolina that impacts what's happening in Washington, D.C. We're talking about an effort by North Carolina state lawmakers to redraw the maps there in the U.S. House, right? And so we told you yesterday, we showed you the North Carolina Senate hearing where state Senate leaders did vote along party lines to redraw the maps there in the state. This is a look at that newly drawn map that was introduced just last week. The efforts here, they have made, they have in no way, been discreet about it. North Carolina GOP leaders have said they are redrawing these maps at the instruction of President Trump to Republicans and states to try to win as many House seats as they possibly can prior to the 2026 midterm elections. We saw it take place in Texas, where they put forward new maps that would lean to give Republicans 5 more seats there. We're seeing the retaliation, so to speak, the response in California, where California voters now have the opportunity in November to see if they will push through a newly drawn map that aims to give Democrats 5 seats more to kind of counteract what happened in Texas. But we saw it in Missouri as well, trying to get a few seats there. And now we see it in North Carolina, where they are pushing through on the Republican side to get 1 seat by changing the layout of 2 different districts, but the seat in which they are currently targeting is the 1st district, which is in our viewing area here in Hampton Roads in Northeast North Carolina. That 1st district currently held by Democrat Don Davis, who is just one of only 3 black elected leaders in the House that are from North Carolina right now. They have 14 seats in total. Right now, there are 10 Republicans in the U.S. House for North Carolina and 4 Democrats from North Carolina. Once these particular seats, if they are to go through this new map, it would move that from 10 to 11 Republicans and draw down Democrats from 4 to 3, assuming that people do vote along what they expect with these maps being leaned in. So that area for District 1, for those who are watching this stream in our viewing area there in Northeast Carolina, you probably already know, but I wanted to go ahead and say out some of the counties. We do have Dare County that is in that, Pasquotank County that is in that area. I do believe Camden County is in that area as well. And so those are the places within that district. Perquimans County, Hertford County, that is currently in the 1st district there that's held by Davis. And so something else to know as we've been monitoring this is just how things happen there in North Carolina. Democrats really don't have much of a push in this because of how the state law is kind of put together in North Carolina. So once the House gets this, and if the House is able to pass it through, they only need a simple majority. And once they do that, it becomes law. North Carolina's governor, Josh Stein, who is a Democrat, does not have the power to veto these voting maps. And so that's what we're looking at. They can just change this. And it's part of the reason why North Carolina has made so many changes, been able to make so many changes to its maps within the last several years. This will be the 2nd one in just 3 years. And I believe maybe the 7th change to the map since 2016 alone. Earlier this week, or maybe at the end of last week, Sarah, these days are drawing in together right now. We had political expert Michael Bitzer, Dr. Bitzer from Catawba College there. He came on to the show and just broke all this down and why things are the way they are. And one of the things that he wanted to make sure people who do not live in North Carolina know, or who are not all the way tuned in to all of the state's politics know, is that North Carolina is not new to this. They are true to this. They have experienced a redrawing of maps consistently for many years. And this is another element of that. But we did watch that Senate hearing yesterday in which we saw and heard from residents who went to that Senate hearing, and they were not happy. I don't think there was a single person, maybe out of what, Sarah, 25, 30 people who spoke yesterday. I don't know. We didn't count them off the bat, but it was a lot. There was not a single person that we remember and that we listened to that said that they were in favor of this, specifically looking at the process and what they believe is a challenge to their ability to be represented in the state and also for democracy. Keep in mind, this particular seat, this District 1 seat, is a very contested seat. I mean, Don Davis won it, I think, this last race by 2%, and the one before that, less than 5%. And so that was a very contested race. And so people feel as though you're taking one of the only few really contested races in the U.S. Seat. Not only that, but you're challenging to take out what many consider a moderate Democrat, and on top of that, one of only less than a handful of black lawmakers representing the U.S. House there in North Carolina. This will put that in jeopardy at the moment. And so that brings us to today. There is going to be a House committee that will take place today. The House is also expected to vote on this, I believe today, if not before tomorrow, for a final vote. And assuming that it goes along party lines, that will go through. And those maps will be changed. We've been getting different sound from people about this in particular. And so we do have an interview, portions of one, from a lawmaker in North Carolina. She is actually a lawmaker there within the state. So let's go ahead and listen. I'm trying to think, Sarah, we got this sound by making sure this is not a state lawmaker, right? Correct?
She is a U.S. representative.
This is Congresswoman Alma Adams representing North Carolina. So I want to go ahead and tee her up. Listen to what she has to say.
Well, I think we need to make sure that we send the right people to our general assemblies, because that's where those decisions are made. I mean, when you think about it, like right now, it was the Supreme Court that overturned it. At that time, it was a Democratic Supreme Court. Now the Supreme Court in North Carolina is Republican. And so we've got to fix that. We've got to make sure that we get a court that's going to be concerned about the people and wanting to make sure that everyone is heard. This is going to not only disenfranchise folks, but if we lost 3 seats, just think about that. Just recently, 3 seats. We had a 7-7 split. They came in, they stole, which they're getting ready to do again. They stole 3 seats. They weren't satisfied. We do have a 10 Republicans and 4 Democrats right now, and they're trying to continue to even make that worse by reducing it to 311, and maybe they'll try to go even further. But I do think that all of it starts at the state. We've got to make sure that we have our courts right, that those are folks who are serving in the courts who understand that we have to have fair representation. And because we lost those 3 seats, it wasn't just the 3 seats that we lost. It also it meant that we really lost the House, the U.S. House. And of course, we could have made some changes there. We could have fought back on this big, ugly bill and a lot of other things that have been going on in the U.S. House. So we're going to fight it as we've done over and over and over again.
And that was Congresswoman Alma Adams there speaking about the situation taking place and unfolding right now in North Carolina. And I'll tell you this, she mentioned this is bigger than just North Carolina, right? There's a reason why President Trump is pushing for Republicans in these states to do this. It's because they're looking ahead to those 2026 midterm elections, in which right now we know that Republicans control the House at 219 to 213. You need 218 seats in order to control the House. Right now they sit one above that, and that 213 number comes with at least one still pending because there is a representative-elect on the Democratic side that has been chosen in a special election to replace her late father, but has not been sworn in yet. So that number will soon change, likely to 214. So all of that goes into what is at play for both parties come 2026 and the midterm elections, and what that means for the second half of the Trump administration, and then also moving forward as we expect for Democrats to really try to make a push to take over one of the chambers, particularly trying to look at the House there within the next year. But right now, still staying on this topic of North Carolina, there is a rally that is taking place right now between North Carolina Democrats, joined by a Texas representative. Again, I told you, Texas just went through this less than a month and a half ago, and now North Carolina is next up. So we're going to turn it over to them again. North Carolina Democrats joined by a Texas representative, speaking on the efforts to change the maps for the U.S. House seats there in the Tar Heel State.
To go out into the counties, if they had reached out to the congressional members that it was affecting, if they had gone to eastern North Carolina and talked to all of the black voters in the black belt of northeastern North Carolina, they said no. My colleague said he was the only one to draw the maps. And he started the committee with this: we did it because President Trump told us to. But I got a daddy, and his name ain't Donald Trump.
Yes, that's right.
But for some reason, for some god-awful reason, the Republicans fear him more than they do their own constituents. Yep. And they can do that when they can gerrymander the hell out of this state and make sure that your vote doesn't matter. Yep. And they are kowtowing, bending the knee, bending over. You will use whatever example that you want to a 34-time indicted, 34-time convicted
Felon. Yes.
And felon. They care more about them than the people that sent them to Raleigh. And so within 24 hours, not only have they silenced the voices of northeastern North Carolina and the black voters that have traditionally always sent someone to represent them there, but they also had the audacity to go ahead and silence us. And the first time in 14 years that Senator Berger has been the president pro tem, he has lauded himself on never-ending debate. But yesterday, he made history. Because when our caucus members stood up with the only thing that we could do, which is sit on that Senate floor and demand that they listen to us, they got tired after 2.5 hours of apparently being called out for exactly who they are.
Wow.
Right? Cheaters.
Yes. Yes.
That do not stand for you. They are serving one person, an authoritarian dictator.
Yes.
And they are choosing that your voice doesn't matter. But let me be very clear. In the great words of James Baldwin, I don't believe what you say because I see what you do. If you are every damn thing they say, because their actions tell you exactly who they care about, and it's not you. I'm gonna tell you one thing, they better be happy that we want equality and not revenge. Because when our caucus in our state flips, we are gonna do what's right. We're going to go ahead and send a ballot measure, a constitutional amendment to you all, the voters, to say whether or not you will say or not. And so when you are thinking about what matters and what's at stake for 26, 28, and 30, it is our courts, and it is literally taking over the legislature, because you're going to allow a bunch of petulant children to continue to run this state into the ground. We are 113 days without a budget. Instead of prioritizing your needs, they're deciding to go ahead and rig maps so that they can stay in power. And let me be very clear. Republicans always say they don't like DEI. But let me tell you something. Political gerrymandering is their DEI.
Yes.
So that's the only damn way that they would serve in that chamber.
Right.
So let's call them out. Let's show up. Let's show out. And remember, democracy has never been free. Not for women, and certainly not for people of color. And so I want every single one of you and all of your friends to come together and fight for the democracy that we deserve and take it back from the tyrants. Thank you very much.
That's our state senator, Cindy back.
Republican legislature really has to go.
Yes.
And we know that they're lying when they say, well, it's not racial. It is racial.
Yes.
They're going to trying to take out the only black male that we have. And in that district, in the East, we've had black representation for the past 30 years. And so they're disenfranchising people. And you might not like what I have to say, or you might not like what I do, but listen, I deserve to have a vote and be fairly represented. And so they're up to listen, I've been here before. You know, I served here 20 years, so I know this crowd. And I know that they're not about the people of this state. They only care about, would you say, Daddy Trump? Well, he's not my daddy either. But let me just say that we lost 3 seats, as Congresswoman Ross has said. And not only did we lose 3 seats, we lost 3 powerful members of Congress. Representative Manning, Representative Nichols, and now our GA, our Attorney General, Jeff Jackson. And so all of those folks were not only essential to this party, but to our caucus. And so now, they got a problem with math, because we had a 7-7 split. It was equal, and that's the way this state is drawn pretty much. We have an equal number of Democrats, an equal number of Republicans, and yes, we've got a few more who don't have a party affiliation. But when you look at the Democrats and Republicans, we should have kept at least the 7-7. So then they came in and yes, they thieves, so they stole 3 districts. And when they stole those 3 districts, it was not just the 3 districts and the members that they took out. They actually caused us to lose the U.S. House. Because if we had those 3 seats, and they knew it, and that's why Tim Moore told Speaker Johnson, I'm going to get you 3 seats. And that's exactly, boom. And you know what? And look, I thought I got rid of those guys when I left here. But all those folks followed me to Washington, including Tillis. So I'm still dealing with them, but I've had the experience right here.
Okay, you were taking a live listen there to North Carolina Democrats who are speaking and alongside a Texas representative about these newly drawn maps that we expect will be voted through. The Senate has already pushed it through, and now it's up to state lawmakers in the House there. Again, GOP in the state, they are working to gain 1 more House seat in the U.S. House and Congress by redrawing these maps, again, for the second time in 2.5, 3 years, maybe I believe for the 7th time in the last since 2016. And they're doing this because the president has asked them to. You don't have to take my word for it. We have sound on the floor there within that hearing from State Senator Ralph Hayes, a Republican there in North Carolina. Here's what he said.
If Democrats flip 4 seats in the upcoming midterm elections, they will take control of the House and torpedo President Trump's agenda. President Trump has called on Republican-controlled states across the country to fight fire with fire. This map answers that call.
You heard him there say it. This map answers that call. The leader of the GOP comms had tweeted out earlier this week that they are doing this, again, for President Trump's agenda and for the Republican Party. I mean, this is now the new strategy. You heard from there, she didn't introduce herself, I don't believe, in the time, but State Senator Sidney Batch is a Democrat. She was one of those people who spoke there outside there in that live stream, that this is now a battle about the courts and legislature. That is what's going on. It's a concerted effort across the country now. States that are able to kind of get some wiggle room on their maps, they're now doing it in a concerted effort so that there can be more control for their party in the nation's capital. And so that is what we're seeing in this moment. And certainly when we talk to, again, political expert and Catawba College professor Dr. Michael Bitzer earlier this week, he said to get that directive publicly from a sitting president is something that surely he cannot remember in his many years of covering politics. We are in new times at the moment. And so we also heard from Governor Josh Stein. He spoke about it, against it also. But right now, let's see, what is this a live shot of? Is this in North Carolina, Sarah?
This is from where that press conference is taking place in Raleigh.
All right.
This is the crowd.
Great. So we saw there, good find there, Sarah. We saw there the other end. We're kind of getting blocked by some, I'm sure great photographers there who were trying to get their shots while we had that live stream up. That is being live streamed by North Carolina Democrats right now. This is an overhead look, as Sarah just said, of them speaking outside of the State House there in North Carolina. And you can see that crowd that is growing, as there have been many people who have spoken in the public hearings and have been sharing from what we've gotten so far, from what we've seen and those who've been to the actual hearings yesterday, their overall disapproval of this process going this way. Republicans had signaled and said that they were going to move to do this, to respond to the call. They have done that. They have followed up with what they said they were going to do, and it appears today, or at least tomorrow, that could potentially happen. And again, Democrats have no ability to stop it once it's done, because again, the governor in this case, who is a Democrat, Josh Stein, does not have the ability to veto it. I do not know if we have the time. We have it queued. I mean, we could play it, Sarah. Just let's go ahead. This is North Carolina Governor Josh Stein here really quickly about this topic.
But before we can get to the good news, we must recognize that the General Assembly is returning to session today with the wrong priorities. Last week, Senator Berger and Speaker Hall announced that they will be manipulating North Carolina's congressional maps for partisan advantage even more than they already have. I'm extremely disappointed by this cynical power grab. Understand that the Republican legislature is abusing its power to take away yours. In our representative democracy, voters are supposed to choose their representatives, not the other way around. They are doing long-term damage. At the same time, they are failing to act on critical priorities the state faces.
All right, that is North Carolina Josh Stein and those critical services that the state faces. How about a budget? North Carolina has been without one for quite some time.